Live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire, the Gurkha Cigar Studios in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and from beautiful Indian Trail, North Carolina. Welcome to the Spare Notes series with your hosts, Matt Tabacco, Kevin Acuff, and William Cooper.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another episode of the Spare Notes series. It's great to be back. It's been a beat. But we're here, and hopefully broadcasting better than ever before, as we have made some changes to the broadcast setup. So I'm hoping that we have a very smooth show tonight. But
you already scared Coop away.
Where did he go? What the fuck?
You scared him.
What an amateur move.
Yeah.
What an amateur move.
We had,
Who gets up during the intro? That's like,
Well, we were about to lose power. So
all right. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. Let me make sure I'm nice and focused here. All right. Well, gentlemen, welcome back to the show. We're here. It's been a beat, as I said. It's great to be back. It's great to be with both of you guys on a Saturday night. And I have to say, I'm very excited for tonight's show. We have a couple of interesting things to talk about that, are very newsworthy. Some stuff that I think, definitely already talked about on the Wednesday night show, and I'm sure, Coop, you've talked about it on your shows this week too. But we'll get back into it again, and we have some other things we're going to talk about. So, but we're here. We're live. Everyone's here. Everyone's commenting in. So, let's see if it tries to make a new stream every 15 seconds like it did Wednesday night. I don't know why it did that, but I'm hoping that.
That was nuts.
I'm hoping that
what
some
happened?
of it changes. What's that, Coop?
So what happened Wednesday night? It was
So Wednesday night. So normally, if there's an issue with the broadcast system will tell me. It'll be like, "Oh, you lost the stream," or what, and I'll be like, and I'll know. So I had no idea until Barbara texted Kevin, and then Kevin told me that on Facebook, and it did happen on YouTube too. Actually, on all the places that we streamed to, because I had to spend some time going through and deleting 30 streams on 4 different pages. It was kind of annoying, but it kept every few minutes. It would stop and make a new stream post on every single one of the accounts that we streamed to. But on my side, it just was continuous and there was no issue. And so every time we do a show and we do a broadcast, the system records it into one video file. So I always have a master recording on my computer.
Right.
So I checked that, and that was uninterrupted. So everything was deleted and then re-uploaded manually. So, for the enjoyment of the viewers, it's fine now. No one would know. But I don't know why I kept doing that, but it didn't tell me. Sometimes we'll lose the feed when there's an issue, but it'll say, hey, you lost the stream, and I have to, start it again and, reconnect. So I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So far, so good. I don't want to jinx myself, but I know it was an issue, so I apologize.
Oh, so that's what you... Okay, so that's why you said you had to redo everything then.
That was one of the reasons. That was one of the reasons.
I thought it was just a software... I thought you were doing a software upgrade or something. That's why.
I did that, too.
That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It's typically, when you lose the feed on Facebook Live or YouTube, it just loses the feed and it ends the video. And you click on it and it says, live video is ended or whatnot. This one is that live video is ended, and then it started a new one. That was just nuts.
Right.
Good old eCam.
I know. It's all right. It's not so bad.
Yeah. Well, good. It seems good, so knock on wood.
But you'll notice a little bit of a visual change to the show tonight, which is very, very cool. Nicole spent a lot of time helping me with that, so I give her a lot of credit for that. Where it's fair.
It's in the Smokin Tabacco colors. Yeah. Yellow smoking, but
they'll upgrade. It's nice. I know. It's nice. But anyway, so yeah, that's what we did before the show tonight. But yeah, we're here, and I want to get my cigar lit. So let me. You know what? I'm not actually going to do that right now. Just for this one show, I'm going to skip that.
Hey, Barbara.
Hello, Barbara. Barbara's here. This is Elijah
Yeah.
Joseph's here. My buddy Matt Roberts is here. Joe Seymour is here. Javier Estevez, good fan of the show, is here tonight. Luke Kelly. We're all here. It's good to see everybody. Everyone's here. Everyone's watching the show. Everyone's getting ready for a good show tonight. We have some interesting stuff to talk about, so it'll be fun. But as always, we are lighting our cigars with our ST Dupont lighters and cutting them with our ST Dupont cutters. And this week, once again, we're featuring the new Fluo lighters from ST Dupont. That's right, the Fluo lighters. We all have the Maxi Jet. Tactical Sexy. Here's an update. Sidebar. Coop, I don't think you saw the Wednesday show. So, Kevin, one of the things that you remember that came up was the Tactical Sexy that we came up with. And I texted Les, and then he just texted me back, Fluo, cool. And I was like, oh, I don't think Les liked my idea. And he was pretty low key about it. And then today, I was in my kitchen and I saw, Les Mann texted me and he was like, just watch the show from Wednesday night. Sexy Tactical. I love it. And I was like, all right, good. So maybe he just didn't know what I was talking about. But then he watched the show and he was all about the idea. So it does have the Les Mann blessing, which is what we want. So Tactical Sexy is here. The flat black, a little bit of that neon coloring here on the trigger. Very, very cool.
Yep.
Love this lighter.
We just put the review today out on Cigar Coop.
I saw that.
So
I saw that.
Yep.
That was very nice.
And it did really good. You know, there's just I honestly, there's not really negative I could find on this product. It's a very, very good product.
Yeah, it hasn't misbehaved once. I mean,
I put this. I put
nothing wrong with it.
I did 30 days of use of this straight. So. Nothing, not a miss, not a misfire. Really, really, really good. It's a well-made product.
It seems like the satiny finish is really resistant to scratching too, because I have these rings on the fingers and it's not nicked up or scratched up.
No, it's not. And you know, I was just amazed that it feels like a very good. You know, it feels very good in your hand as well. And, you know, you get that flame. The flame just really comes up nice on that. The only thing I maybe could say is I wish I had a bigger tank, but it's not a big lighter. So, I mean, I don't know. If I got about 9 to 10 cigars off this thing, you know, which is, I think it's, for a lighter of this size, that's pretty good, you know.
That is pretty good. For a single jet, pretty slim, so like you said, not a big tank.
Yeah. There's just, like I said, the matte finish on this thing is, I think, it really gives it like a nice grip, you know, when you're handling it.
It's one of the ones you gotta pick it up to truly appreciate it too, because it's like it just has that satiny feel in your hand, and it's not, you know, it just when you grip it, it doesn't slide around, you know, when you go to put your fingers on it to push the button to light it, it stays put.
Yep.
So this is definitely getting added to the permanent collection of the house.
I know. I said, you know, this might not be part of the permanent collection because I bought the last two. But the other, I'll just say, there's a lot of precision, accuracy with this flame too. So when you want to light this thing, it's going to go right where you want it. I even put it through a wind test up against an air conditioner. I mean, if eventually some heavy air hit it, and it is going to. But I mean, it was heavy. I had to put the air conditioner on higher before the flame started wilting.
It works really well under my ceiling fan in the lounge.
That's
here,
what I'm saying.
So.
Yeah, normal wind. It's
crazy.
Like, if it's gonna flop, you're gonna be in wind that you can't smoke in anyway. Is my feeling. With
that. So Coop, we have a question from Jay, who, as we all know, always has great commentary on the show. Also, shout out to Dan Thompson for being here tonight, which is awesome. Great to see Dan.
Yep.
Cigar Coop, question. Do you mention cost of cigar during a cigar review? Do you do this? You do mention cigar. Sorry, I read that wrong. You do mention cost of a cigar during a cigar review. Do you do the same for a more expensive lighter in a lighter review?
We do it with any accessory. So it is in there. If you go into the review, it's under the specifications, the price of this. So yes, we do. You know, I find that when it comes to a review, the two most important things I get are are where can I get it, and how much does it cost? Those are honestly,
valid.
They're more valid than what people. If I forget the score and people, maybe may not say so, but I'll tell you what, if I don't have a price in there, or if it's a hard to get product and they can't find it, I'm gonna get those questions much more. So yeah, in an absolute and I've actually restarted accessory reviews. I had paused them for a while, but I'm gonna be doing. It won't be a lot. I'll be doing about one a month maybe or so. Because I have a couple of other Dupont lighters and a couple of other accessories I want to review. We did the Fuente book last week. That was another big project, but that's not really an accessory. But I did put the cost in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, accessory reviews are very important, and
yeah,
it's funny because I feel like there's a lot of people out there who, I mean, cigar reviews obviously, are the big one. I mean, everyone wants to read the cigar reviews, but what's interesting is nobody talks about like stuff that they say, oh, like, do you see the review on this? No one talks about the reviews on like accessories and stuff. But at the same time, when you look at the traffic numbers for accessories, accessories are exceedingly higher than you would expect compared to the actual cigar content. It is very, very interesting. And this is something that I've even talked to, Charlie Minato and Brooks Whittington at Half Wheel about. They've even shared with me like on the Half Wheel numbers. They're like, yeah, we see a massive click rate on accessory content, and that's why, we had this conversation several years ago, and that's why they spend so much time on accessories. And then I was like, oh, interesting. And then all of a sudden I started to spend more time on accessories and making sure that we definitely covered those guys when we could. And then I saw it for myself. I'm like, oh, shit, there it is. It just the numbers come in, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
The problem is when accessory review is they have to go through more rigorous cycles. You could go through 3 cigars and it takes you X number of times. But I'm kind of anal, and I really like putting that accessory to a daily usage. So what I had to do basically is when I kind of paused them for a while, and I had to rethink how I was doing accessory reviews. And I think I have a more efficient way to do it. We're still going to go through like a month of testing, but I can parallel certain things a little better now. So we'll see. Like I said, I don't see me doing more than like one a month, but I know I have 2 other Dupont lighters that are going to be coming up for review.
Yeah, I have a bunch of accessories that are in my queue to go out for review. I just need like a few hours of time to get caught up on putting them together, but we have a bunch as well.
I mean, that's the other part. They do take a little longer to put together, and I find video is a very good supplement to an accessory review as well, particularly if you want to show the operation of it.
Right.
So, in fact, the video I did, it's not my hand, it's my wife's hand, because her hand looks a lot nicer than mine. So, I had her do it.
Oh, so you had to sub it out for a hand model? Who are you?
Ooh, that's a great idea. It's with Barbara with her nails and stuff. That's like the perfect thing for accessories.
See?
Yeah, I wanted Lisa to do when we were paging through the Fuente book, but she was afraid of that. But I had white gloves that came with that, so I can hide my hands with that. So I was able to do that.
You weren't blessed like George Costanza to be a hand model. Remember that episode?
I never saw that episode, but
you never saw that? That's like one of my favorite Seinfeld episodes when George becomes a hand model, and then he burns his hands, and he's like, "No."
Nah, it's like I said, I think the feminine touch is better in that case. Yeah. So if you see a nice set of hands igniting the Dupont lighter, they're not mine. So. But Lisa's part of the Coop team, so she does things behind the scenes, and this was one thing I asked her to do.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I saw you did the thing in the book. It's interesting. I have the book as well. I didn't think to do anything with that in terms like a review. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I'm just letting you know now. I might steal that from you, so I might do that too. But
it takes a long time to do that book review. I'll just tell you that.
Oh, cool.
So because I had to read the book was one thing, which is very good reading. It then that like I said, you know what the interesting thing about the book was? If you're gonna get this book, right? And you knew I wanted to get this book. The one thing I didn't think through, and this is not a knock on the product, where I was gonna put this thing. That's the one thing I didn't think it through well enough. That being said, I think I found a home for it, but I had to take, I tell you, but if I'm telling you, the whole thing, the way this book is assembled and everything it is not just an ordinary book, is what I tell everybody. It is something special.
Yeah, if I had a place, it's like I had an opportunity to buy one and I passed on it. It's like if I had a place to put it, to display it properly, I would have got it, but I just don't. And I don't want to
I have mine.
pay the money for it and just stick it away in a closet somewhere.
Yeah, I
That's
have
doing it a disservice.
I was going to put it on a guitar stand, and it's a little heavy for a guitar stand. Because I think if I put it on the stand, you got to keep it in the clamshell. It's going to add like another 4 or 5 pounds to it. So, because you don't want to put the book outside, you got to keep that book in the clamshell. Is what I'll tell anybody.
Well, it needs a nice, like a glass display case, like custom built.
That's kind of what I'm thinking long term is what I want to do with that. Put it in some sort of a cabinet. But the other thing is, I gotta be honest, I don't like. It's a coffee table book, and I have it on the coffee table right now. But the problem is, I don't want people thumbing through this book either. So
exactly. It's a coffee table book, and if you touch it, your hand's gonna get slapped.
Yeah. Exactly.
I won't let anyone touch mine. And I leave the gloves right on top of it as a God forbid I'm not around and someone decides to be ballsy enough to pick it up and go through it. Like, hey, there's gloves on top, so maybe you should take the hint and put those gloves on before you touch it. So that's like my only insurance line of defense that I have. For it. I left the gloves there. Trying to put these on. Well, I just figured, for those who haven't seen it, I would pull it out, just as kind of like a visual. So this
you have it right there. Look at it.
Yep.
Wow.
So this is the clamshells over here, and then this is the book.
Yeah.
Right here. So this is how big it is. For those who wanted to know, this is how big the damn thing is. It is massive and it's beautiful.
That thing is 17 pounds by itself.
I was gonna say it weighs almost like 20 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, the clamshell goes over 20 pounds with it. Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, you want
that
book in
before,
the clam.
but I'm gonna try to do
Careful.
this.
You got yours You did get yours autographed, right?
I did. Mine is yes.
So I didn't, right? I wanted to when I went down to Tampa, but honestly, if I had dragged that 20-pound book with a broken shoe, you remember I had the broken shoe at the Fuente.
Oh, that's right. You broke your shoe.
Paulie Walnuts is my shoe, yeah.
Yeah, there's the inside part that's customized.
Yeah, it really. I mean, the whole, they use something called tipped-in art, which they paste art into it as opposed to print the art, and it gives it a more regal feel, but makes the pages very heavy.
Right.
The photography is Aaron Sigmund and Ian Spagna, who did a spectacular job for the Fuentes on this book. It is really, really well done.
So it's kind of what Coop was talking about. When you look at this page, this picture is it's printed on the page. This picture is not. This picture is actually a separate sheet that was laid over the white sheet. So this you can see the edge here. This is another piece on top of the white. This is not printed. As is when you get to the back, which I'm trying to do this. All right, let's go here. All right. So when you get to the back, you'll go through the section with all of the cigars that were important to the history of the brand. So, for example, this is on page 194. This is the Opus X 25th anniversary. So when you get to this page, the actual bands, not even copies on a different paper, the actual bands that they will put on the cigars in the box are on the page. This is the actual band on the page. You can feel it. It's there. And then on this page, again, you have a photo that is separately laid onto the white sheet. So they are very intricately made.
Yeah, and my wife, she actually started out in the publishing industry at a college, and Asseline, she's very familiar with them. This is the Rolex of publishing. Okay, so they're publishing what Rolex is the watches. This is the highest end, and they're known for doing books like this. And here's the other thing that's really interesting: there are Asselinean books that are 5 to 10 times the price of this book. Just keep that. There are more expensive books than this
Oh
that I've
yes.
seen. So, yes, it's not a cheap investment, but if you're a Fuente fan, and shop around. I've seen some retailers have it for some pretty good prices. You may be able to get it. So.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is, in terms of the price, I know a lot of people have questioned the price, but again, you have to take into consideration it's the publisher who made the book. That's the level of
It's
quality
handmade. This book too. Yeah,
and each book is handmade. These are not made on a printing machine. I mean,
Yes.
there's some printing involved, obviously, but each book, so for example, my father-in-law is a printer.
Yeah.
So and I've shown him this book, and he has seen it and was very impressed with its quality. But he actually talked to me a little bit more about this too, and these books are all made in Italy too. They're in there. They're handmade in Italy.
Yeah.
Each one of them one by one, and he's explained to me a lot about how like the printing world works from a small scale where he works, he kind of does like small scale printing, but we've talked about like large scale printing, like when you see like these massive books and catalogs that get like mass produced. It's very interesting, and a lot of times when you buy a book like that from a bookstore, like a thick book, they're made on a machine, and they can print every page in that book for 1,000 books within minutes, and then they cut them all out, they bind them, and these are all, not only are they all like printed out one by one, and then half of the book is like hand laid, and then the binding, which is another whole thing that you got into, like the binding is all hand like sewn and hand prepared, like everything's done by hand. There's no machine work on this, which the irony there is, like the premium cigars, it's all done by hand, and there's no machine aspect to it. So it's kind of ironic when you think about it.
And those pages are heavy, and that's why I've been worried about handling this book. Like I said, I had no problems with the way it was assembled, but it still, I would say, is something that's not designed to be something you read on in the bathroom. It's like
It's not toilet material.
No, I mean there are books like you could thumb through it, but this one has an artistic quality to it, so it does deserve to be viewed from time to time as a book you'll want to go back and look at over and over again. I mean, they bring the Fuente story to life in this book. They really, really do. I've actually, I was impressed.
So we need to address Matthew's beautiful wife's comment.
I was gonna
happy birthday today. Nicole's birthday.
I was gonna get to that after, but I was gonna say happy birthday to Nicole, by the way, while we're here.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
Her birthday is on July 4th, so it was Thursday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. That's right. Yes.
And then since we're already here, tomorrow's our anniversary, so happy anniversary to Nicole. Our 2-year anniversary is tomorrow.
2 years. Okay.
2 years. Yeah, you guys were there. Should remember. So 2 years. So happy anniversary, Nicole.
Happy anniversary, yeah.
Thank you. But so wanted to make sure we didn't skim by that. But yes, speaking of, because Nicole is here, she did make a comment, which I know Kevin wants to get to, so I'll bring it.
It was a funny comment.
Not sure why you're spending time on the book. According to some cigar reviewers, Fuente is a lackluster and dying brand nowadays.
Who said that as a cigar? I mean, you don't have to say it on the air. I'm just kind of curious who, because I know most of the main guys.
Yeah. I'm
trying to think who.
It was a review that she read recently that was put out recently on one of their cigars, and that was pretty much the gist of kind of the auxiliary commentary on the review outside of the actual specifics.
Right.
And,
I'm not asking. I'm not asking. Obviously,
I won't share it.
But I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I'm curious who. I mean, because honestly, you got to be a total dum-dum if you're saying something like that.
There's quite a few of those out there.
Yeah.
I definitely disagree with the comments that were made. And it's not because like I'm just all one-sided and like I'm going to defend them. I mean, I enjoy the brand on a personal level, and I think a lot of people know I've done a lot of stuff with them, but I've also expressed criticism
We have
to them
sure,
and
yeah.
about them because it's fair, and I've had to have conversations with them where I'm like, I got to be fair, and they get it too, and they've told me we get it. Like they don't, there's no ill will. So I mean,
Uh,
it's you know,
I have never had
but
an
there's
incident
also a
with
lot of good.
Carlito can take criticism. I can tell you that. And I've seen guys really give Carlito criticism, and he doesn't take it personally or anything like that. But I've seen in person, I've seen people, media guys give Fuente some criticism.
So, I don't agree with the comments that were made because when you do look at it, they're still making almost 35 to 40 million cigars a year. They're heavily expanding into the international market, and
I mean, Fuente is like a legacy brand that will like literally live forever, in my
But
opinion.
if I had to go to like I mean, I'm just going through. There's like 15 or so media people that I would say, people that are on the radar. I mean, I haven't seen anyone really that. It's got to be some rogue media is what I look at. It has to be because I can't think of anyone who's like the people been around and doing this.
it was someone who's been
trying to-
around, but I think they're under a new avenue.
Okay.
So they're I don't think their website is like as well known yet, but they themselves I think is now.
Well, I see it now. I know who it is. Okay.
And again, look, this person, like I got no
Yeah,
ill will
yeah.
against personally. I like him; he's a friend, but I
I know.
I was
I
a
know
little
who it
I
is.
was a little surprised myself. I was like, I don't know if I agree with that. Just based on again, nothing, just
There
it's
could be a flip side to the comment too, though. Is
they're a
to
very
try
successful
to have
business. I mean,
somebody says something like that and people disagree. Doesn't matter; they're going to get talked about. So
it's
what
true.
does that do? That puts their name out there. So
It's true.
good press, bad press. It's just you say something controversial, people are going to talk about it and say your name. So
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not starting beef with them over it. I mean, I disagree, but like, I definitely think that's very far off. Just on what I know, what I see, and I think what everyone else sees too. They're doing. They gave the short story Rare Pink a 69. For the
Yeah, that's
review.
the one I'm looking. I'm looking at it now. That's the one. But I think they got the price wrong on it too. I don't think that's an $11 cigar. So.
I think MSRP is around that. It's like $11.99 or $11.99 or $12.99.
But listen, I'm not saying anyone's I don't agree with the criticism, but certainly I actually think this person could take the criticism if it was criticized back. So, yeah.
And it could have been, like I said, it could have all been done intentionally just to create a dialogue since they're still kind of in the up and coming stages. It's a quick way to get your name out there, even if it's controversial.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You know what's funny is, and I'll bring this up because
U.C. Sherman nailed it.
I've also had this conversation with him too, and we've both stood there and giggled about it, because we sit on the same side of the table. But it. I know this is gonna start something. But it's like when the general public reads a review that Charlie Renato wrote, and everyone gets all fired up about it because of like tasting notes or something he says, and it's just funny because, look, I get why some people like get all fired up and defensive about it because they love the brand or whatever, but like at the same time, I understand where Charlie's coming from. So it's kind of hard because I see both sides of it, and I've talked to him about this, and I've said to him like, I think it's like there was a specific review he wrote where I'm trying to remember the cigar. I think it was one of Saka's cigars, and he wrote something about. I'm paraphrasing, but it was close enough. He wrote something along the lines of like, "This tasted like a stale Big Mac, from the 90s or something like that." No. He said this. He goes, "I haven't had a Big Mac in quite some time." He goes, "But this almost tasted like the stale aftertaste in my mouth 30 minutes after I ate a Whopper from Burger King." That's what it was. Something like that. That was as close as I can remember. And I just remember I read that, and Nicole read that, and I chuckled. And then I saw him, And I said, hey, by the way, do you remember that review that you wrote on such and such or whatever? And he was like, kind of, sort of. And then I was like, do you remember what you wrote in the description about the Whopper? And he was like, oh, yeah. And we just laughed about it. I was like, that's hilarious. But I remember like when that review came out and people like were getting all up in arms about that comment. And I was just like, dude, it's genius.
The one from him that got me was
Like-
was kind of along the same lines. It was stale Topps baseball card bubble gum.
Yeah.
It's like I haven't like tasted like I mean, when's even the last time Topps had bubble gum in their pack of baseball cards?
Nope, nobody reads cigar reviews. You all know all these notes from Charlie, and as do other people. And I keep hearing no one reads cigar reviews. It's the bit. Yeah.
Is this
'Cause
everyone?
everyone-
Wait, hold on. Is it? Hold on. Before you keep going, I'm trying to understand so that we're all on the same page. Are you making a dig at me and Kevin because we're not
No,
talking about your cigar reviews?
No. I'm sorry. I
Oh,
wasn't meant to.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, but everyone. Okay, and let me paraphrase. This was. I hear this from people all the time. Taco meat. What do you call it? Blueberry cereal. They all know this stuff from the half wheel reviews, but no one reads half. I've been told no one reads reviews. Like they have no use for reviews. Nobody reads reviews, but everyone knows this stuff. It's kind of funny, and it's kind of funny. I just find it very funny.
I just 90% of the time when people are like all bitching about a cigar review, it's because something of Charlie wrote. I don't really ever see anything that you wrote. People go like, "Oh, I can't believe Coop said it tastes like a wet fart at a gas station." Like, no, like I've never seen people really argue about that. It always seems to be what he writes, so that's why I referenced it. But we've talked about it, and we laugh about it, like because I'm
they're
like,
hypocrites. These people are such hypocrites. Because here's the thing. You know when there's a bad half wheel review, who gets called about it? Me, from manufacturers, right?
Can you believe what Charlie wrote? You know why?
Yes, and
I'll tell you why. Because you know what happens when they call Charlie? He goes like this.
And my answer
and I don't blame him. He should. Like, it is what it is. What do you want me to do? I
didn't read the review, and I'm not going to read the review to comment. It's not my. Did you talk to Charlie? No, right?
So why are you calling me?
Why they call me on this stuff? I'm not kidding. And then, of course, what do? I'm not going to lie. All right, let me see what he wrote. That's probably the way I read a half-wheel review most of the time. Joe Grow, like, I know every half-wheel score because of Joe Grow. Joe Grow, reads every half-wheel review, he puts it in a chat group, and I know.
Did you see what Charlie put online? It's like, no.
McTavish, I call them the half-wheel fanboy club. I call those guys. I said, you guys are a half-wheel fanboy club.
Well, let's talk about Cigar Coop for a second. So Nicole brought up a very interesting point. Speaking of reviews, did we talk about Subway yet? I have been dying to bring this up tonight. I thought it was hilarious that you did that. My commentary on Facebook was more fun.
I guess you weren't following Cigar Coop because I said we talked about food reviews on shows. So you probably were not following Cigar Coop.
No.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with Cigar Coop, and I know that you not even just a written piece. No, but not just a written piece. I know that you have a long history of reviewing food. So when I saw it, I was kind of like, not really surprised. It's something you would do. I just thought it was funny the fact that once it was actually on there and there was a link to it and it was actually there and it was like, oh, okay. It was now that it was there and I could comment on it. It was like, oh, like I just thought it was fun. So, it goes along what we've talked about, how it's been kind of a slower year. So I'm like, is this what we've come to? Like we're doing food reviews because we have nothing else to do.
No, it's not a slow year. It's a slower month. I won't lie to you because if you go month to month from last year, we're dealing with PCA. So there was opportunity. I just want for some additional content. It's a series of 5 reviews, 5 different places. Chain places because again I want national appeal, so I'm not going to put some local place. And the idea is you'll see that there will be a comparison of the 5 as the thing goes along. It'll probably stretch out during the summer. And if I'm happy with the feedback, and I'm very happy with the feedback.
I have it on my phone right here. You can see it. Yeah. Cigarcoop.com. It's on my phone.
Yeah.
I have some commentary on it. I was very excited about.
I couldn't resist my Facebook comment on that one.
I don't even think I saw your Facebook comment.
So basically, you said something, and I basically said, that Subway making like sub sandwiches is liking like Pizza Hut actually making pizza.
but again, unless you could, the problem is you have to do something that's going to appeal to everyone, so they're going to view it.
That's a very fair point. That's a fair point.
Right.
I
Right.
totally understand what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the idea too is, Matt, you made a comment that was interesting. What was the comment?
I was just giving you a hard time. I really
So was I.
I really was not seriously
but,
into it. I just was, having a good
time.
No,
but there was an interesting. Okay, I made the comment to you. And I've said this on the show a lot. It's for me to spend time on your 10-box one-store release. There is nothing in it for me at this point. You could give me 5 of those boxes, it ain't worth my time. And the amount of traffic I got from the idea is with Subway, why I'm doing it is I feel that there's a tie-in that people go to cigar stores and they tend to get sandwiches in different places. So that's kind of the angle I'm doing. There's more interest in that than someone's 10-box cigar lease for some store in Nebraska. I mean, and I'm just I'm
100%,
not going
100% understand what you're doing.
And cigar media just continues to just invest cycles into this stuff, and I don't understand how they could be sustainable. It just, to me, it's not sustainable. And this got so much more traffic in one day than that would see in a lifetime. Yeah.
So Nicole commented, as long as Jersey Mike's is in there, because I have to say, if you're going to talk about sub chains, Jersey Mike's is a step above.
It may be. It may be.
Capriati's.
It may be. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to lie, they're in there, but
we had Jersey Mike's today. It was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. But I actually did this very structured. I tried to get the sandwiches as close to the same as possible. So same basic ingredients, and it's a little tougher to do because everything's not apples to apples in there. And
every chain has like their like Italian sub, but it's just everybody has a variation of it. So
there's a variation, and this turkey idea came from one of my boys actually. My son, so we were kind of just going through this comparison, and then it was talked about, and I've been asked for food reviews on the Coop site for a long time. It's not like there's been a demand for this. I'm not gonna say it. We're a cigar site. That's what we'll always be. But there'll be a few of these scattered this summer.
So, do you mind if I read some pieces from this? Because I've thought, and it's not me. I'm not making fun of you. But I thought what you wrote was it was good. Like, it made me laugh, and it was entertaining. Like, you did a great job with it. But
I think most
was funny. I don't see anything funny about it. But if you did, I'm happy.
So when you
I think the shots that we're taking were just made to be goofy and
so
lighthearted.
The under intangibles, right? You wrote, while I won't score, I don't know why I just thought it was funny. While I won't score appearance, the sandwich did have a nice presentation. The ingredients used in the sandwich tasted good and worked well together. The one drawback is that after eating this foot-long sandwich, I was still hungry.
I was. And when you go through the exercise of 5 days, you're going to see the differences.
I just thought that was great.
I was still hungry. Now,
I would be too.
I finished the series up on Thursday. And the 5th one was actually a very heavy one, actually. It was about a similar size. So
you've already reviewed all the 5?
I've got. Yeah, I have to write up the other 4 still.
But you've already done them all, so you already know kind of, okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and
without giving anything away.
Yeah, I'm not going to give away what the scores are, but there's some surprises in how they stacked up.
Interesting.
Yeah. I find it kind of funny that, people like, well, I could get a really good, thing here. I'll say this about Subway. I was surprised it scored better than I thought it was going to score. It didn't score, don't get me wrong, it didn't score like I'm going to go to Providence and get a sandwich in Providence, Rhode Island, but it scored better than I thought it was going to score.
Well, they did a massive revamp of their restaurants, about a year ago?
Did they?
Yeah.
They've been there forever.
And I think since they did the revamp, I will say, as much as I like to, just tease and just on that, right? But
yeah.
I will say, Barbara and I, we eat there.
Subway?
I'm not going to lie. But the quality of the food there, I think, in the last year has gone up.
It has definitely gone up.
The quality of the meat's gone up. The freshness of the bread is better.
Yeah, I mean the one where the other one where everyone falls down is with lettuce usually. So that's always the one that brings down the condiment score.
So one of the things I will say is I first heard about. So I've since switched over when it comes to sub chains. I've switched over to Jersey Mike's. That's why Nicole and I brought that up. That's probably our favorite now. And people can disagree. That's fine, but that's the one we really like. And
I'll give you the best sandwich. Yeah.
Jersey Mike's is good.
I
The Cancro. The Cancro you got to get there. The Cancro special
Jersey
is the
Mike's?
best sandwich. Yes.
Okay.
Pepperoni and roast beef. Yep.
I first heard about it from Carney, who was like, "Yeah, dude." He goes, "I go to fucking Jersey Mike's like 3 times a week." I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, you got to try it." And then I was like, "Okay," and I just kind of forgot about it because I didn't really have one.
How
near
new
me.
is it? How new is it to you guys?
It's pretty new to me, but
Oh, wow.
where
They've been
we
down here-
used
they've been down here 15 years.
where we
Yeah.
used to live, like we didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think we had one like around us. We never really encountered one. So once we moved to New Hampshire, there was one day when Nicole was going somewhere and there was a Jersey. And she was like, "Oh, I went to that Jersey Mike's," and she was like, "It was so good," and she was like raving about it. And I was like, "Really?" So then I was like, "Well, we have to go." So then we went together and picked up some subs and came home, and I was like, "This is way better than Subway. This is amazing." For what it is, I mean, it's still really good. I would say this about Jersey Mike's. I've had the cold subs. I've had the hot subs. The cold sub, they're both very good. But the cold subs, dude,
Yeah.
they do better with the cold subs, and they're phenomenal.
Agree. Yeah, and the Cancro special is this roast beef and pepperoni combination, which it used to be a hidden menu item, but I think now it's available on the menu. You would think roast beef and pepperoni. I'm telling you, it's great, you know. But and then my goal. I don't know if I'll continue it after the turkey sandwich piece. I'll see, but I'll see how it goes basically. But I thought about already if I did next, would I do Italian or roast beef? So and you got to try to find 5 that have similar sandwiches, which was a little challenging too.
C. Sherman put Firehouse / Jersey Mike's, then Jimmy John's, then Quiznos, then Subway.
They're not apples to apples though. That's the problem.
See, they closed almost all the Quiznos out here.
I know. I haven't been to a Quiznos since I was a kid.
Yeah, Firehouse is good. I think Firehouse.
They're
is really
not
good,
bad.
but I don't think they had a turkey option like this. It was. I got to look at that again.
Yeah, we have
Like,
one.
I mean,
We have a. Go ahead, Coop,
Meatball.
sorry.
I go meatball with Firehouse. They have really good meatballs.
Oh yeah, their meatball sub is good. That was
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
the first time I had a meatball sub with pepperoni on it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was so good. Barbara and I here. There's a chain called Potbelly. That's actually.
Oh, I love.
Oh,
those-
yeah.
those- Those sandwiches, it's like it's for us. The only reason I never had really gone there is because it's just where it's at. It's one of the ones that's like you need like a NASCAR the yellow flag to slow traffic down to get into it. But once you actually make the effort to get there, holy shit, what a good sandwich! And they have a wide variety of different things. And
the only
fresh
one that
bread.
we have near us, I think, is at Logan Airport. I don't think we have one that's like.
I was
interesting.
blown away how good that one is, and then of course we have Capriati's, which
Capriati, and there's a Capriati's
Bobby
coming
Capriati's.
There are
the
some
Bobby
drawbacks with
Capriati's is so
Capriati's.
good.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it away, but there are some minuses I got with the Capriati's one, which I think people will be surprised about. But it is they have a really good, we just started getting Capriati's in Charlotte.
Yeah, the Bobby and the Capastrami are my two favorites.
I took the Coop team to Capriati's in Vegas, and they were ordering those Capastramis, and
That's such a good sub.
yeah. Loomis actually liked it, and for Loomis to like anything, that was a good sign. So.
I don't want to laugh, but it's true. Aaron's great, but he is very picky.
Yeah. The Potbelly had soups, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have
their
soup.
soups were really
They have
good. Yeah.
shakes. They have like next level milkshakes. It's good stuff.
Coop, do you know anything about Larry's Giant Subs?
Great. They're in but they're too regional. Yeah, Larry's Giant Subs is in Georgia and Florida. Fantastic. They're really good. but I don't have one near me. And like I said, they're very regional. But for regional place, if you're in the what do you call it, South Georgia or North Florida, worth going into it. Really good quality.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of sub chains
Yeah.
that are around, we got Subway. There's some Jimmy John's, although I don't think I've ever been to Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
We got Jersey Mike's.
Yep.
Like I said, the only Potbelly we have is at the airport, and I don't. And it's in Terminal B, which I never fly out of. So I don't ever really come across it. And then we have one or two Firehouse. I haven't been there. I've been there, but it's been a while. But I remember it being pretty decent. And then I think that's all we have. We don't have Capriotti's. We definitely don't have.
We don't have Wawa here. Wawa definitely.
We don't have
in
Wawa.
there. So we don't have Wawa. We don't have. We used to have Blimpies, which was really good. A lot of
I
Blimpies.
forgot about Blimpies.
Oh, Javier mentioned Charlie's. So we do have some Charlie's, but they're all in malls, and I don't.
Yeah, Charlie's.
I have been there.
The cheesesteak place.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about.
We have one in Charlotte, the mall in Charlotte. Right by it's like the same place as Tinderbox is in.
Kevin, it's our Julio Iglesias guy. Remember him from the raffle?
Yes.
Javier Estevez. Yeah, he wrote. He wrote into us. It was funny. It was like I loved that. That made his day. So
that was funny, because that was like the coolest name ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm just a normal dude who drives a Mustang. He's like, I'm definitely not like this, fancy guy with a Ferrari. And I'm like,
Yeah, but he could be.
He could be in his mind. He is. And I told him, I go, hey, you know what? It's never too late. That's what I said. I go, hey, it's never too late. You can, something could change tomorrow. But anyway, Coop, what were you saying?
Yeah, it's really Capriotti's is the one I don't know how national it is. It's growing, but that's the one.
Sure said they're in casinos in Vegas, so I mean that.
Yeah, they're in Charlotte. They're in
Well, they're all over Vegas. They're not just casinos. There's like 20 Capriotti's here in town.
Oh, really?
They're
okay.
in Florida. They're in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in Florida. They're in Ohio. I mean, they're.
But look at this. Look at the engagement that I've had, like just on this freaking Subway sandwich thing. Like this is so much like isn't this better than talking about a TAA cigar? Shots fired.
Yeah.
But yeah. No one talks about no one. What kind of engagement?
Shots fired coming from Coop. Coop, shots fired is not something your generation says, so that's pretty funny. I like that. Shots fired.
I try to talk about TA cigar. We on KMA we get crickets. I mean, it's like no one wants to talk. Well, subs, everyone's, and I think it's great.
I do want to address something that we actually haven't talked about tonight. Is what are we smoking?
It's a good call. That's a good call. Well, Kevin, since you brought it up, let's have you go first.
So I'm sticking, since it was 4th of July and Independence Day, I'm sticking with the
Camacho
Liberty theme. So I am smoking the Camacho Liberty 2021.
Good call.
So
good call.
I've actually gone through all of my Liberty series. I was actually going to break out the 06 for tonight, but it's like this is like my 5th cigar today, so my palate's burned up, and when I burn a cigar that's that old, I want to be able to taste it.
Well, good call. Camacho Liberty stuff has been
Cinco de Cinco. Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Coop. No, you were doing the
That's
Cinco
a
de Cinco?
great cigar, Coop.
That is fantastic.
I just reviewed it this week. This is the Toro size. I picked it because it matches the lighter. So I went with a green theme tonight.
I didn't even think about that.
There you go. Right.
Mine don't match, but that's okay.
Shame on you. What we doing?
Well, you didn't think it through, Matt.
Well, you know what? I had a lot going on before the show, so I'm just happy that we're here. I had to make sure the system was working right, and so far we have no issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the good call. It's all about matchy. But I am smoking a Tatuaje Lomo de Cerdo Tuxtla. Came out last year. It's a great cigar. It's been smooth all the way through. It's great. I know that a lot of people compare it to the original Pork Tenderloin, and I never had that cigar. And while I believe it was awesome, because I generally really like a lot of the Tatuaje cigars, this one is still a home run in my book. I really like this cigar, so I grabbed this. I found a loose one, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm smoking it." So,
Good cigar.
yeah.
That original pork tenderloin was like life changing.
This one didn't do it for me. The Lomo de Cerdo. It could be me. But it didn't do it. But
I got these from Jay Davis, by the way. Shout out Blue Smoker Dallas. Sorry, go ahead, Coop.
But by the way, I want to comment. That is absolutely true. I started blasting the TAA on the first episode of Primetime in 2017. A whole segment like how what a train wreck they are. So
Coop is consistent. I rewatched episode 1 of Primetime the other day, and Coop was pointing out the same issues with TAA cigars back in 2017. Props to Coop.
The difference is I was actually covering TAA cigars, and now I've stopped. I have stopped.
Raul.
So, yeah, but it's the truth. It's the truth, guys. Like we talk, there's no a Subway sandwich generated more interest from this audience than a TAA cigar.
Jay Davis, I'm smoking the Magnum Rosado 44 by that irrelevant company. That's pretty good. That's a great cigar too. Was Barbara smoking the Camacho Factory Unleashed 3?
That was actually cool. We were actually given that cigar to smoke prior to its release when we were at Camp Camacho. That was actually pretty cool.
Oh, here's a good question. Sorry, before you guys continue. What was the wrapper on the original pork tenderloin? So the original pork tenderloin was Connecticut broadleaf. And the Lomo de Cerdo uses a Mexican San Andreas from the Tuxtla region. So that's why it's called the Tuxtla. It's something that Pete has been doing the last several years of doing more releases that I think were Connecticut broadleaf, and he did versions of them in Mexican San Andreas.
The Avian was a good. I like the Avian. Some of the blends were better. The Lomo de Cerdo didn't do it for me, but the Avian did great with it. The Tuxtla Avian was good.
It did very well. But I think that original pork tenderloin is the cigar by which all other Connecticut broadleaf cigars are judged. That cigar was just phenomenal.
And that was a true shop exclusive that had like cult following. I mean, that's one that people will talk about that. I don't remember, but I reviewed it. Actually, I scored it a 93 back in 2017, which would today be a 91 because the scoring has changed. There used to be 2 points for appearance that was scored in there, so it would be a 91 today. TAs are boring cigars. I agree.
Well, some of them are just nothing special. It's just, isn't it? Like some of them are just like a rebanded something or other else to make it a TAA special, right?
Yeah, but you know who did a good job, Kevin, with a TAA, and with no help from the TAA, by the way? Espinosa. When we were at Zonapalooza, that was the cigar everyone was asking for, was the Murcielago TAA cigar.
Yeah.
And I was flabbergasted because I said to the Hector and Jack, I'm like, I never saw people interested in the TAA cigar. Not even some of Pete's stuff I seen that interest level. There was a lot of interest. That was the cigar everyone was looking for. Like people were swapping cigars, and everyone wanted the Murcielago TAA. So that they did a good job with that. But that was from no help with the TAA, also.
No, that was just Hector wanting to be leaps and bounds above everybody else, and we're going to do something special, so we're going to make it special.
Yeah, and then Jack did a great job at rolling it out to the retailers. I mean, they got it out right after the TAA. Jack was visiting the TAA retailers, so their team was well positioned for that. Like I said, that's why I said with no help from the TA. I don't think they did anything to promote that cigar for them. So.
And it was a good freaking cigar too.
It was. I have a soft spot for the original Murcielago, but they did a good job on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, when it comes to the TAA releases, and I think most of us agree for the most part. Year over year, the ones that have been the most consistent that are actually good. La Flor Dominicana always seems to do a great job with their TAA.
Yeah, I haven't had a dud from them on that.
I'm a fan of La Polina.
They've had some misses. They've had a couple misses.
They've had some misses. The what was it? Was it the Goldie that they did?
The Bills.
Yeah, I was excited for that one, and then I remember being very disappointed, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else want to talk TA cigars in the audience? I'm just kind of curious.
Hey, listen, if they comment on him, I mean, it's there.
Absolutely, if they can't. That's why I'm asking.
Jay Davis wants to keep going. I see he has a TAA comment here. Let's see. TAA Tatuaje Crown Heads. Yeah, the ones I've had were pretty good.
Crown Heads has had a couple of misses lately. The ones they were getting from Luciano were not as good.
Wasn't that where the Padron Black originated?
Actually, the Padron Black started. It was released for Abe originally.
Okay.
But then it went to the TA after that. So Abe had he got an exclusive for a very short time on it.
So that was one of his the small batch, or I forget what he calls his series now, but his basically store exclusive.
The micro blends. Yeah.
Yeah, does he still do the micro blends?
Yeah. He's got a couple more coming out. I know that. I'm not sure who the manufacturers are.
I know he did a sampler at one point that kind of had one of everything in there, and that was freaking incredible.
That was.
I'll say good cigars in there.
The best one if I just say top to bottom, the best one that was released was the Illusione one. The Pactum was the best one. I'd even put that ahead of the Anarchy. That was a hell of a cigar they got. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was a really good cigar.
Yeah.
Here's another TAA comment directed at Coop. I don't know if I want to bring this one up though. This might start trouble.
Okay.
This one might start trouble. I'm gonna skip it for now. If you want to circle back, we can, but I'm gonna skip it for now.
Yeah. No. We don't need to do it.
All right. And in Coop's words, it was shots fired, but it's okay. I didn't know he used that.
Wasn't that wait a minute? Isn't that what this show's about? Shots fired.
You know, to be fair, the basis of this show was originally created because me and Coop had something we wanted to say, and we said let's do a show together, and then we just do this every often. So it's But anyway, we're gonna keep going.
All right. Well, I'll quit trying to stir the pot then.
I believe me. I would normally, but I don't know. This one might get him going. So, but anyway,
but consider the source. I don't even have to. Move on. I don't have to look at the comment. That's what I'm saying. Move on.
It's the peanut gallery. That's all it is. It's the peanut.
Gallery. We know who it is. I mean, I can guarantee I know who it is. I haven't. I'm out. And I only don't read the comments. I can tell. No, we're moving on. No, we don't need to.
Oh man.
I'm not glad. I want to be at the Sands tonight, Jay. You guys moved the freaking trade show to the wrong time of the year.
Aren't you all glad we're not at the Sands in Vegas tonight? Sorry, Kevin, the heat you're enduring.
I did see that comment.
I wish I was there. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? We went four-wheeling yesterday, and it was a freaking 110 degrees out. I mean, we had fun four-wheeling, but holy shit! Yeah, I mean, if somebody in the group would have had a flat tire or a breakdown or something like that, you literally would have died before you got the damn Jeep off the trail. So it's brutal out here. And it's
I'm
only
excuse
getting
myself
worse
for 1 second.
Week.
Yeah,
I mean, they were originally calling for a week of record highs.
We had 100 here the last couple of days, which is probably cool weather for you guys.
Yeah, a week ago they were calling for 120 this coming Tuesday. Now they've changed it. I think they're saying it's going to be 117. But I mean, for the actual town, I mean, in the Death Valley's close. I've been in Death Valley when it's in the 120s. But for it to hit 120 in Vegas, that's totally unheard of. I think we've had I remember 119 since I've been here.
Do you remember the 4th of July earthquake in Vegas? Were you there for the 4th of July earthquake? Because I was in Vegas for the 4th.
What year was that?
2018. It was right after the trade show.
Yeah,
so I went out to Joshua Tree for a couple of days after the trade show. And then I flew back out on 4th of July. And literally as I'm returning the rental car, I felt the earth move. And I had been in an earthquake before, so I knew exactly what it was. And it was an earthquake that hit Vegas.
Yeah, they happen here more frequently than not. Yeah. So we've actually had, there was some, in the, the upstairs of my office, it actually cracked the finish in the drywall and stuff from the shaking. So
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I mean, I was in a much larger one in Washington D.C. and I was at a chemical plant and it had to be evacuated. But it felt like the D train was right on top of us when that happened.
It's a weird feeling for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we all came out of our office like my bookcases were banging against the wall. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell was that? It's like, oh, we
Yeah.
just had an earthquake.
No, Jay. I'm looking at Jay's comment. Weather-wise, it was. I don't know. I didn't like freezing in the yard at the compound this year.
Well, it was actually March. It wasn't April. So first of all, Jay, get your facts straight.
Yeah.
And it was actually it was, and I will say for the trade show, I mean, it was a little bit rainy. It was kind of unseasonably cold in March for her.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
it was.
Days, it was freaking chilly.
I agree. It was. I mean, look, I kind of liked the whole breakup. Here's what I haven't heard from any retailers. Have their businesses gone up, being back from the trade shows? I heard how everyone had to be home, right? And I haven't heard any reports from retailers saying, "Hey, this." I'm kind of curious. Has business gone up? And I guess we won't know that till the beginning of next week. But I'm kind of curious. Did this make a difference for you being back now? Everyone said they had to be back for the 4th of July for business, right? Did this make a difference? Because this is what I've heard for years.
Will you even be able to tell until next year for the trade show? Really, if moving the date was really a difference?
No, we won't. But at least the one thing we could solve is, hey, thank you PCA for moving this because our numbers were up X percentage. I just haven't seen any comments from not one retailer on this. But I heard all the comments how they needed to be there for years and years and years. So I'm just kind of curious now. Did this make a difference? I'm actually not poking fun. I'm really curious if it made a difference. I think, and if the PCA wants a good article to write, I think they should write an article on this. Put Antoine on the job with that one.
I mean, my thought is, and kind of like where my mind has been on the whole date change thing is, how long is it going to take for the new dates to basically recycle and regenerate a new schedule, I guess, for the industry to flow into?
I think we'll start to see most of it next year, and then by 2026, it will flow in.
Okay.
I think it's interesting because I saw a lot. A lot of companies said they were releasing stuff in April, and some of them haven't released the stuff yet that they said. So,
yes, I think this year definitely we're seeing the adjustment period, which we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah,
lack of news. There's not that much news to talk about, so I think that date change definitely has a lot to do with that. So
we would see a swoon in late August and September of news, but the difference is Intertabac was the one thing that would sometimes pick it up because there's sometimes some stuff that was going on with Intertabac, but it wasn't. Intertabac didn't move the needle. So September was traditionally a very slow month, and when I'm looking at the month-to-month stuff, our month-to-month in June was a lot less. However, our month-to-month in March was a lot more. Mm-hmm. So I have to kind of adjust how I'm looking at gross for each month right now with traffic. And overall, I think we're still ahead of the curve for the first 6 months. I'm curious to see what happens this summer.
Speaking of Intertabac, Coop, I wanted to touch on this. You and I had a conversation the other day on the phone.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting to talk about. So, Intertabac, which takes place in Dortmund, Germany, which is, in the dumbing down way of saying it, like the PCA trade show for Europe, but it's the way it works is very different. We'll maybe speak on that in a minute, but interesting. The biggest players you would expect to see there will not be there. General STG will not be at Intertabac. Davidoff will not be at Intertabac. Neither will Habanos, which, I mean, you'll never see Habanos at an American trade show for obvious reasons. So, when there is
massive for
a
the
major
European
trade show, the one trade show for them to go to, and they're not going. So, it's interesting. And Coop, we talked about this. It's like, well, I would say a good portion of people, why go to a show like that when the biggest worldwide companies will not be there.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of Intertabac, it's not about new products. It's a relationship show, right? And I'd be going for a relationship type of show. I will not be going to Intertabac. I was already planning on. Now, there's a few circumstances that have played into that. One of them was the company staying home. There's other stuff not related to the trade show that played into that decision as well. But I'm like, again, especially Habanos would be. There's relationship building I'd want to do with that. So. As well as some of the STG European groups. So I made the call of, saying this wouldn't be the year for Intertabac for me. It's expensive to go. It's expensive to go. It ain't like they're paying my bill to go.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I am going to Europe. But it won't be in September. But I have another. We were going to do a Europe vacation. We moved it to August for various reasons too.
Yeah. So
I find that interesting though that those companies aren't attending that show as well as they didn't. Well, General came back to PCA, but Davidoff is not. So
Arnold Andre's not going either. I heard, and they're a big distributor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't know about that one. That is true.
In the European market not going to that show, that just doesn't make sense.
The Mirafels will be there because
the Mirafels will be there.
They do a lot over there.
But I have access to the Mirafels. Like so.
No, I know. It's not just about that though. Just the more prominent ones.
I mean, I would have loved to go see Jose. I would love to be and hang out with Jose. I mean, because I don't get to see him now. Right, but I mean, look, it's an expensive proposition. And Jose's been to the States a couple times this year. I've seen him already. So, there'll be another time for Intertabac for me. It's not that I'm against the show, but it is a costly proposition, and the timing was unfortunately very bad for me. And give the fact that you add in the fact that these players are not there, I'm not exactly sure why I would be going at this point. Let's say Glenn Case from Christoph, right? And maybe he goes, right? I think he does go. But do I really need to sit with Glenn Case in Europe, or I can get on a plane and go see him in Chicago or see him at PCA? Is what I'm saying. So,
right, you don't have to go all the way to Germany to talk to Glenn.
It's a very expensive proposition to go to Germany.
I give this analogy the other day when we were talking about this. So you know how like every year when like the beginning of the year, like all the car shows, like you have the main one in Detroit, the North American Auto Show. And there's like ones like around the country. So like there's one in Boston, and it's it's open to the public, but it's like a manufacturer's debut show. So like you go and like all the brands are there, and they have all the new models, and you can get in the cars, you can look at them. They got representatives from like the local dealerships. If you want to like take it further, you can talk to somebody. But we used to go all the time, and I remember there were several brands that were not in attendance, and it was like we were like, why are we taking a day to go down there and spend whatever to go in and walk around all day when several of the brands that we actually want to see are not even there. So it's like, why even go? So even as a consumer, just to like go to like walk into it, it's like, oh, I don't want to go if like, 4 of the brands I really wanted to see are not there. It's like, well, why am I going to go? Because like, I don't really care about going to see Honda, and Toyota, like, because I don't buy those cars. Not against them. It's just,
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like the same thing. It's like, why go to an event if what you're looking for is not there? And it can be in any scale, but it's a very basic concept. So it makes a lot of sense. As a manufacturer, I'm sure that they have a lot of their reasons why, and I'm sure some of them make sense, obviously, because I understand both sides of it. But yeah, on the other side of it, the retailers and distributors or whoever, like, yeah, like I would be annoyed, I guess, if I'm like, hey, I wanted to go and do business, but like, why am I even going to waste my time on it?
I thought about going and writing about the mechanics of the show. I did think about that, but ultimately, I don't need to do it. That's not worth a separate trip for me to do. That's one article I would get out of that, right? So it's not worth doing that even for me. So it was a tough decision. I wanted to go. But there'll be another time to go. So and I look forward to it. Like I said, I had to make the call on this one here. But Matt, you make some good points on that. Again, why would we? It's like go back to TPE for a second. Again, a lot of companies don't go to TPE. Where am I going to go? Watch them write orders? That's not really like exciting.
Yeah.
And I do need to get back to TPE. In fairness, I need to get back to TPE. It's been 4 years, so I'm trying to set that as a goal for next year to go, or at least someone from the Coop team go, because it's been that'll be 5-year gap. I should go see what's going on with that trade show, but but there'll be some other European pieces I'll be writing about. So.
Well, yeah, there's other European stuff going on that for obvious reasons.
I mean, it was writing that piece on Dubai was very interesting too. And it was very high level, but I happened to also get on a panel show right after that. So it was also kind of validated a lot of stuff I saw. I was able to validate through that panel show. So, and all of a sudden I started seeing people go to Dubai. Like I seen Omar from Fratello was there, Justo was there. So Carlito's been going there. So, there was some interest in that article, which I was surprised about. But I didn't take that trip for cigars. It was actually a byproduct of why I was there.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that before, I think.
Yeah.
Hey,
can we talk? Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
No, actually, go ahead.
Can we talk about another event I'm going to go to?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm only going to this event because it's coming to my town, and it is not costing me anything for me to go to this.
Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, this is the Traveling Cigar Roadshow is coming to Charlotte. So
oh, really?
My goal, yes. So my goal is, I don't even know if they're going to let me in, right? But I want to just kind of go there and see what it's about, right? And it's at Casa de Monte Cristo, so it's not like it's closed off. I don't need to see people writing orders, but I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to be pulling. I'm kind of going to go there as a fly on the wall, pretty much, and see what I can learn. Because everything I heard the last time, this wasn't a big success. It was not. I did not hear good feedback on this, so I'm kind of curious why they're kind of going back to the well and doing this again. But I wasn't there last time because that was in the middle of the pandemic and I wasn't going. So they did, but I know people in Charlotte who did go and I didn't hear good feedback, is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the Traveling Cigar Roadshow because the last time it happened was like just before my time. But I've been trying to get caught up on it, and it's a very interesting concept.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about it on the podcast because I'm not really sure who it benefits, and the concept is they're basically what they're going to do is 4 companies are going to be doing these joint events. They call it the Traveling Roadshow. There was this thing 4 years ago. There was a joke about them having a bus. They don't have a bus. It's locally supported events. Maybe some of the principals will fly in and out to some of the locations. And basically they're going to offer deals, and people are going to be able to take orders. The problem is they're either at neutral locations or there are competitors' locations to some retailers, right? And, the first thing I hear is, well, why do I have to get up out of my shop and go across town to place an order here? And that's kind of what I've heard time and time again. Like, if you want me to put a big order in, and regardless of what the discounts are, come to my shop,
That's primarily what it's Altadas, Olivas, CLE, and Rocky, right? Those are the ones that surround that.
Yeah, and Oliva and Rocky did it last time. And then the other 2 companies are new. Last time they had in Crown Heads and Alec Bradley in the other 2 slots. But so I'm kind of curious. Like I said, if my schedule allows it, I'm going to go to it. I'm going to crash it and see. Like I said, I'm not. Well, I'm just going to go there. I mean, I don't think it's closed. The stores are not closed to the public. There's probably conference rooms where these orders are going to be taken at Casa de Monte Cristo. So I probably won't be in the conference room, but I want to see the environment they have. Is this anything that my goal is? I want to see if this is something like a retailer would want to go to, and then I'll try to. I'm just because they talked about having music and food. They're gonna have gas station nachos there.
Shots fired.
Gas station nachos.
Look, gas station nachos.
There's not a lot of presence on that for the West Coast. I actually just pulled it up and looked. It's like so they have.
Aren't they? They're in Vegas.
They have 2 events in. No, they have 2 events in California, in LA, and 1 in Phoenix. So that kind of
wow.
just goes to show you where Vegas. I mean, and that's actually one thing,
Just gonna leave this
outside of the
right
trade
here.
show and
This would be a
the
theme
big
for the
smoke.
night.
Vegas doesn't really have anything, industry wise, aside from, when TP and PCA is here. There's really nothing else here.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the list here. They don't look like the closest they look like they're going to Matt is Stamford, Connecticut,
No,
which is not really close to Matt.
no. They're coming to Haverhill, Mass, which is near.
Oh,
where
I see it now.
It's
Okay,
near.
yeah.
It's near where I grew up, and it's probably 30
Okay, I do
minutes from
see it.
where I live now.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
I do see it. And you can see that they have Charlotte on the 1st and 2nd up in Mooresville. That's what we have.
And a good portion of the events are either a Casa de Monte Cristo or a Burn by
Yeah.
Rocky. There's a couple
Yeah.
like the ones.
Well, that's
the ones
interesting because
in-
Rocky's a part of that.
the ones in LA. What does it say? The Maine's Event Center in Bellflower, and then there's one at the Ainsworth in Phoenix, which I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's some type of event type place.
All right, Matt. Roma Restaurant I'm assuming you can't smoke there.
I don't know. I've never been there. I know that it's very popular with everyone at Two Guys.
Okay.
I don't know if they have some kind of connection to it, but I know that's
Mike,
a frequent haunt for them, and I think Mr. Jonathan does dancing events there too.
So again, I'm not trying to put myself into Dave's shoes. Hell, if I'm Dave, you come up and see me. Make the deal. I have 3 stores. You come up and see me. I mean, I couldn't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised either. I mean, I'm sure Dave kind of helped them put that together because when I saw that, I said, "Oh,
Okay, so there is a Dave. Okay, so there is a Dave. Dave.
Well, yeah, only
okay.
because I know that place is like a favorite of theirs. I see them talking about it all the time. And like I said, I've seen Jonathan like post like that he does like events there. I think he does some of his like ballroom stuff there. I think that's the place. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's a Dave connection with that place.
Yeah, and it's only.
Yeah.
By the way, this is only a 2-week window. They're going so there's going to be a lot of splitting up, and I think all these are going to be supported by local reps. So, like I said, if you're expecting to see Christian Aroa, Corey Bappert, Rafael Nodal, and these guys on Rocky Patel on a bus. No, they're not going to be on a Greyhound bus here. They're going to be, if anything, it'll be their reps, and then maybe a couple of them will float into a few of these events here and there. Like I can see Rocky floating into the Naples event, kicking it off.
Doesn't he live in
That's
Naples?
that's a good opportunity for those guys to show and try and make an impact, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see them going to Florida at all with this, which doesn't surprise me. They don't go to Florida. The Pennsylvania is only one of these in Pennsylvania. Like I was surprised. Oh no, 2. Pittsburgh's in here too.
Apparently, people in the comments section disagree. They said it's not just going to be local reps.
We'll see. I mean, maybe I don't. They didn't really make it clear. I just, if you look at the schedule, there's no way that that they're all going to be at these things because most of them are going on like concurrently on the 7th and 8th. There are 4 cities going on at the same time. So I mean, it's well.
So basically, just so people understand, like listeners or whatnot that don't understand, this is basically like a traveling show to support retailers, correct?
Yeah, it's a retailer event. Yeah. Which you could say, well, PCA. See, I think there was a missed opportunity here, guys. I think you should, if you built a few consumer events off these things, you really could have hit a home run with some of these. So, for example, I'm looking at a couple of these Casa de Monte Cristo events. They go from 10 to 6. Why not from 6 to 10 do a consumer event, right? You have, you could.
That'd be a home run.
Home run it would be. And the whole guise of this thing, I mean, and then why not bring a new cigar or something like that, or something special? I mean, deals for consumers. There's maybe some of these companies are going to be doing that. So I don't want to say they're not. It's just they haven't advertised anything that's going to be a consumer event. But I think I mean
that's like a no-brainer to tie a consumer event to that.
Yeah.
Especially ones that are at a lounge. I mean, ones that are at a hotel or a restaurant or an event center or whatnot, that might be
I
a
get
little
that,
bit more
yeah.
difficult. But if it's at a lounge, I mean, that's literally like an absolute no-brainer to tie in a consumer event to it, which, like, to your point, we just don't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think a great example of one is like, Rocky. It's a no-brainer. If he's in Naples that day, that's an easy no-brainer. Yep, Rocky does the event. Yeah, he doesn't have to get on a plane or anything like that. But I'm gonna crash the one. It's in Charlotte on the 1st and the 2nd, which I'm surprised they're doing 2 days in Charlotte. So there's not a lot of stores in Charlotte. There's maybe 15 stores max in Charlotte, compared to like Atlanta, where there's like tons more stores, right? So, by the way, the one in Atlanta is in the Battery, which is a really cool section to go to. It's where the Braves play. So
Jay Davis said, "Why would a retailer go to buy a lot of product at a competitor in what is essentially a cash grab for manufacturers who don't want to miss out on their traditional summer sale?" I agree with the
Yep.
panel.
I
Do a
agree.
consumer event.
Yep.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird when I was reading through it, and then it was like, yeah, this is more, for retail. And I'm like, well, wait a minute.
The one coming up in August in Phoenix, it's like it's close enough that it almost be worth a drive down to Phoenix just to see if we could get in and see what it's all about.
Yeah, mine's an hour drive, so it's as long as I'm available. I'm not gonna change if I have something come up at work, I'm not gonna go. But I have a 2 day window. But yeah, Phoenix is at least about 4 hours for you.
Yeah, about 4.5 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically it's a wash. Like going to like Bellflower or Phoenix is about the same drive. If I had to pick between the two, I'd rather go to Phoenix.
Okay. I agree. You don't have to deal with LA.
Because the only problem with LA is it's in California.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting, especially where it's driven more towards the retailers. And I got to give props to, the one in Mass, with in my neck of the woods, it's at a neutral site. You know what I mean? It's not at a retail shop. So if the people are gonna come,
but my guess is that's gonna be in the parking lot or something, or outside, because
true. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's nice that it's a neutral site. It's not like, oh, you guys have to come to my shop or whatever. Like some of these,
I agree with
okay.
that. I think, and I get. Look, here's the thing, though. I'll defend Casa Monte Cristo, at least in Charlotte, a little. They have the facilities to have these types of this conference rooms and stuff like that. So it does make some sense. I know it's not ideal for retail, but I can understand why they're leveraging some of the facilities at Casa de Monte Cristo, because they have the breakout rooms they can do this in. Are they going to set up a table? I mean, some of these places, they're going to have the tablecloths and the boxes lined up nice. We'll see lots of good pictures with that. And we'll see lots of people taking airplane trips to these things, but that's about it. No bus pictures.
Yeah, no bus
pictures.
Yeah, the bus thing kind of was an inside joke. It's because I think when Aficionado announced the first one, they had this picture of a bus with the logos on it, and I think everyone thought originally it was going to be a bus tour that was going on,
like Rocky Patel and Christian Aroa and all these other people were all hanging out in the bus together.
By the way,
you see?
Cool.
Sorry, Coop.
No, go ahead, Kevin.
I was saying, could you see these guys like all on a bus together?
It would be cool. It would be the coolest thing.
I could actually. I was cool. Like, really?
That would be like the most out of control. Like there'd be cops involved at the end of the night.
But it would be cool. But it would be so cool if, like, hey, I could go on a bus, and obviously smoking on a bus would probably be the issue. It'd be cool to go on a bus and like hang out with them. Yeah.
That would be unreal.
Oh, 100%. 100%. The alcohol consumption on that bus alone would be out of control.
I would actually pay good money to have an experience like that. I mean, that would be like out of this world to get to spend, weeks on end with those guys on a tour bus.
Years ago, they used to have bus hops to the different stores in North Carolina. There was also a famous one up in Pittsburgh. But they died out because it's getting harder to smoke on the buses.
Jay, more likely a Hummer limo, not a bus.
Didn't Camacho do something like that like years back?
They did. They had a
national
yeah.
tour?
They did. You're right. I remember that. That was when they were doing the whole barbecue thing. I think was tied in with that.
I can't remember that. It was the Live Loud something or other tour.
Yeah.
That's all I can remember. But
Loud. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that'll be interesting, and we'll see how it unfolds.
Yep.
But I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to hear the feedback on this go around because, like I said, I'm new to this concept, and now that
I will
I've
have
heard a little bit
like I
about
said,
it, I'm curious.
I'm gonna try to go and get information. Either we're missing out on something or we're missing out on nothing. It's gonna be, I'm sure. So.
Well, Coop, you can give us a scoop.
I will
as
have
always.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll
Yep,
make it to the one near me, but if I can, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We can compare notes.
we need to do
Spare
we need to do a spare notes industry like national bus tour, and have these guys come on and participate.
Yeah.
That
I would
would
I
be
would think
interesting.
most of us would probably last maybe a day or two before you had to tap out.
I would. I think I would get sick of it after a week. I'd be like, you know what? I've had enough. I don't know if I could do a while on there. Anyway, what was I going to say? So one of the other things on the docket this week that I wanted to talk about, which I think was probably the biggest news story all year, and probably one of the biggest stories we've seen in a while. I think because it came to such a shock to many people. And you guys already know where I'm going with this. Jonathan Carney, former vice president of sales of Flor Dominicana, is formally because LFD and Jon Carney have parted ways this week. He is no longer with the company. He is now doing some of his own stuff. But yeah, Jon Carney and LFD. It's funny. We talked about it on Wednesday, and then John came on and gave us some of his firsthand commentary on it. But yeah, I don't think I ever thought that I'd read that headline, to be honest with you, or if I did, it was just because I don't know. It was hard to believe there for a minute. Like, wow, Jon Carney's not with LFD. But he's not. He is no longer with LFD. There is no more Jon Carney in LFD, which is crazy to think.
It's even harder to believe there's no Jon Carney in the industry.
I know. To be fair, you know what, Coop, go ahead. I know you have a comment, and then I'll say what I want to say after.
Well, no, it may take us off on a rat hole. So just what I was gonna say is, I think sometimes we make a big deal of I talked about this on KMS one. I think we sometimes make a big deal when these moves happen, right? But this is why this was a big story. 11 years in this role, long time,
and even longer with the company,
And even longer, but this was I think the only national sales manager. There's a couple, but I know one that probably the one I can think of who's longer is probably Juan Lopez.
Yeah,
I think there may be a couple of others too, and I'm sure someone will correct me on that. But there's not a lot of guys who've been there more longer than Carney. So, I think and this is why I said the reasons why he left that's between him and LaFleur. I mean, those aren't our, but it is a big story because suddenly he is not with LaFleur anymore. So it is newsworthy. I think it's absolutely newsworthy. It was the biggest day of traffic. It was the biggest single story we had of the year. It wasn't the biggest day of traffic because there was a couple PCA days that beat it, but they were combined stories. But I put the story out in the afternoon, and I couldn't believe the traffic I was getting on this thing and the phone calls. Yeah, so
the new I was told Monday night, and I just I texted John. I was like, wait, what? Okay.
It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was out there before Monday night, but I didn't. You hear stuff sometimes, but until I saw his Facebook post on Tuesday, I had no clue.
What was I gonna say? Just before that. before I want to respond to David's comment, but before I do, one of the things I'll add was, over the years, obviously, John is a very close personal friend of mine as well, and as I said before, I have a very personal relationship with John, and then I have a business relationship with John, and I try to keep them very separated for obvious reasons. But in that time, like I said, and I've brought this up on Wednesdays, I've had conversations with Carney and over the years, and sometimes you ask each other, when you're hanging out having a cigar, like just like, oh, well, if you didn't work at LFD, like where would you work? And I'll be honest with you, pretty consistently, John always, for the most part, had responded to that question with, he really wouldn't work for anyone else. If he didn't work for LFD, he wouldn't work in the business, and that's exactly what happened.
I don't see him going to another company.
Yeah, Coop. And it's funny. After there was a lot of people who obviously probably don't know that and don't know Carney as well as I do. Yeah. Who I saw like, who wants to take bets? The Septimo guy's gonna grab him, or Rocky Patel's gonna grab him, or and I'm like, no, and he's not going anywhere. He's not.
I guess money can always talk. Money can always talk though, but I don't see that happening either. Money can obviously, but I think he, and you know him a lot better than I do, and I've gotten to know him. I consider him a friend. I think John has I think this was a long chapter that, sometimes it's just time for change. And I know it sounds crazy because I'm always saying there's reasons with money, but I think in this case he's thought things through on this, is what I'm saying. So, and I think yeah. Sure. It isn't like he's looking. It isn't like the standard. I'm exploring other opportunities. No, he's got. Obviously there's the whole.
Shoulders of giants.
Shoulders of giants. But I imagine there's more than that. So yeah.
I will keep it very short and simple. The answer to that question is there's a lot more. Yeah. But that's all I'm going to say.
That's fine.
And even then. I'm not going to say anything else, but like I said, I know John very well personally, so I know some of the stuff he wants to do, and that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I mean, he has a vision. I'm going to say he has a vision. He has things that are very important to him, and it's going to be really cool. And I'm really proud of him, and I'm excited for him. And from what I've heard, it'll be really cool when he does it. So
and the Gomez's are going to be be They're going to be fine. The Gomez. They've been in this business for 30 years. And John did a great job for them, but the Gomez's are going to be fine. I mean, I heard, and they're good people. They're, the Gomez's are dear friends of mine as well as John, and that will never change. I got to just be Switzerland in this. Sometimes, people want to move on. Sometimes changes need to happen, and that's unfortunately we as media have created this. There's always something behind the scenes and something like that, and that's not our business. It's
two things I wanted to bring up that are related to this. First is David's comment. I remember David Garofalo predicted LFD would be sold. Do you guys remember that? I've heard that rumor several times over the last several years, which Carney's always told me like it's so far from the truth. It's not even funny.
I don't see it based on what I've observed.
I don't see it based on what I've seen and what I know. I don't think that's the case. I don't remember when he made that prediction. Was that, David, if you would be so kind to remind me, was that during his most recent prediction show this year, or was that from a few years ago? I don't remember when he said that.
Aren't these the same guys who said that Oliva was getting sold to General? So, I mean, I just take it with a grain of salt. So.
Yeah, no, I sure, but I'm just curious how recent that comment was made, just out of curiosity. But the other thing I want to say is I don't remember. It's somewhere in a Facebook group where our story was shared. But I saw one Facebook comment. It was the only negative comment I saw, and it was someone had commented, "Thank God, maybe now I can finally get my LFD cigars because the back orders are horrendous." And
my response
to that person is, I'm just going to make this very simple to whoever that was. You need to take a look at yourself, pull your head out of your ass, and understand that you clearly don't understand how the cigar business works. That is not John's fault. It's not John's fault that there are back orders on inventory that they don't have. A sales manager can only do so much with what he has available. That's a production issue, and has to do with several factors that are pertaining to the way the Flor Dominicana does their business, which I'm not going to waste the next 2 hours getting into, because every company does something different. I've had conversations with them and John over the years as to how their system works and about the back orders, and they have their reasons, and it's not just for lack of care. It's not it's not John's fault, and unfortunately, sometimes things like that happen, and they're not the only company that has back orders like that. They're the ones that usually get put on the cross the most. I understand that it can be frustrating, but they are definitely nowhere near the only person who has back orders like that.
When you're at the top of your game, like Flor Dominicana is, and they make great cigars. They have great lines.
Great quality.
That's why this is amplified so much, because there's a great demand for this stuff, and they have not sacrificed one bit of quality. And that's why, look, like I said, I have so much confidence in Tony and Lito Jr. working with Lito as well. I have a lot of confidence in those two brothers. I'm excited. Lito Jr. is going to be on Coop show later this month. So I just have a lot of, and I've seen Tony grow over the years into this role. Look, John will be missed. There's no doubt. I'm sure they're going to miss him. The company's going to be fine. But at the same time, if you think the back order is going to get solved, it's a supply and demand issue. And right now, the Flor just continues to be at the top of their game right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think the LFD will be fine. I think that they're probably going to go through some changes, with this, and I'm sure maybe there's some other things, but they'll be fine. They make great cigars. That's what they got going for them. So
they do.
The demand will always be there.
They've changed the industry. They've changed the industry in a lot of ways.
Big time.
So big time. Innovators. It's Lito just expanded the factory and everything too. So
which will help with the back order issues.
They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine. And it happens. At some point, things. I always say, everyone's replaceable. It's just who you replace them with.
It's true. It's very true.
Exactly. I mean, Lito is one of the most respected guys in the industry. So
yeah. He is. And look, and John. Look, he became. I think John. I've heard him referred to as the face of the company. But he was definitely the presence of the company, because he was boots on the ground in the States for over 13 years, especially as the national sales vice president of sales. So he came into that job very young too. I remember when he got the job, and then
He's 29 years old.
I don't remember where I met
28,
John.
29.
Right? 28. But I met John. I had a conversation with him, and this is when I was with Stogie Geeks, and I kind of came out of this conversation. I said, "This guy's so smart." I said, "We got to put him on Stogie Geeks." I mean, he absolutely. He was the first. Well, I'll count Jared. Jared Trudeau almost was a co-host of Stogie Geeks, so that's a little different story. We knew him ahead of time, and then he got the Christoph job. But John was the first national vice president of sales, and people will tell you I normally don't like putting salespeople on the show. There's very few, but he was really. I just felt he could talk the game really well, and he became a mainstay on the Coop show for over decades. And look, he is still going to be doing shows with. I will tell you, he will be guest appearances with Coop going forward. I told him that, and. We do our football show with him every year. That's not going to change. He'll always be invited to that, and I told him to get ready.
And he'll be making more appearances on our show again, because he was an integral part of the beginning of the Smokin Tabacco show, which was his concept to begin with. To be fair, I mean, we wouldn't be here without John.
He's still in the opening credits. I mean,
he's remaking those this week, because I never made those. He did, and I don't know how to make them, and it's one of those things that was on my to-do list.
I don't know.
Between both of our schedules, it just. And then he said to me, he's like, "I'm remaking those intros." I'm like, "All right, good, because they need to be updated." So now that John has some time, we are customers of Shoulders of Giants.
Get in there, yeah.
Well, we're customers of Shoulders of Giants, and so that's one of those things that we'll be.
Hey, it's one of their first tasks.
Yeah. So they're going to be taking care of us. So I'm excited.
It's cool too, because I've watched his journey over the years. I don't know how long when you met, but again, I know him for about 11 years, and I've seen him move down to the South, and then he moved into Miami, became vice president of sales. Then I saw him, get married and have a family, and and like I said, John was one of the first people to meet my wife. So
interesting.
John, if you want to count, he was the second person. Nestor Miranda was technically the first. but John was the second industry person to meet my wife. So we went to a wedding, and John was there, so he could attest that my wife really exists.
Actually, to be fair, I can probably say the same thing. He was one of the first people to meet mine too, just because of the timeline and the COVID and all that. And I was seeing John very regularly. Yeah, he was one of the first people to meet Nicole. So, which is interesting.
Hey, we were at the wedding.
We were all at the wedding. So I mean, there's a lot of moments we've shared. I mean, I've been to 2 weddings with John. How can I say? I've been to 2 weddings with John in this because I was at Matt's wedding too. So
very true.
And like I said, then to watch him become a father, really, I think from what I see from afar, he seems like a wonderful father. And he's you're very close to him. I consider him a friend as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm I support him however he needs it. And just like the Gomez's, I'll support the Gomez's. They've been nothing but incredible over the years too. So.
Absolutely. Well, look, I wish both of them the best. I think they're both going to do great things, so I'm excited for them. And I'm watching the time, and we are getting towards the end of the show, so I'm going to probably wrap it up right there. But this was a great show.
Can I do one more thing? Unless you really got to wrap up.
Sure.
Okay, and if you want to cut it short, that's fine.
Okay.
So, congratulations to the Boston Celtics on winning the championship.
Oh, thank you so much.
But I have one, and this is a serious question. This is not a ball-busting question.
Yeah.
Why did you think there was all this hate for Boston? Because I saw nothing but compliments for the Celtics winning, everything. In fact, I saw a lot of positive feedback, so I didn't see this hate. Maybe I missed something, but I saw a lot of positive back to the city of Boston and that franchise from it. So I was just curious, where did that come from? Like, 'cause you seem kind of angry about like haters and stuff like that.
To be honest with you, and I'm gonna probably keep it short, because I don't think I really need to get into it really deep. But
that's fine.
Just not just like on Facebook or like with people we know, but I mean when you go on social media and you see like I just saw, especially like on Twitter and people talking about it, like I saw a lot of memes that were like anti-Celtics, and like there's the Boston Celtics fans, and then there's the rest of us, and like everyone wants, I saw a lot of stuff like that. I saw a lot of comments and tweets like on multiple forms of social media on the internet of people trashing the Celtics, and that's because that's what I saw. So that's where I kind of got the feeling from.
I'll say as an outsider, I mean, like I don't really follow the NBA, but I mean, I'm on social media as well, and I mean, I saw a lot of that as well. And I mean, I didn't have a dog in the hunt one way or the other, but I mean,
I may be closed. Yeah, I just maybe closed off on it then. Yeah, I mean, because I saw a lot of just wonderful feedback too. I saw, and maybe I just chose to look at the positive more.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, and Kevin, obviously, he started to. So it was out there. I mean, there was a lot of hate against Boston.
There should be. It was a great championship. It was a great run.
I mean, I think I saw some that was just to try and get Matt spun up, but I mean,
well, that's people we know. That's like Willie Morante. That's different.
The people that we don't know, just in general, I did see a lot of negativity out there.
I mean, like stuff that Willie says is different because like we all know each other and that's just what we do. It was more like the real hate that like I saw. Like I don't take Willie's comments into it. I mean, I know he doesn't like them, but it's different. In respect to Willie, it's different because we're all
the
friends.
Willie Morante excuses are funny though. I mean, you gotta say. Like,
I know. Yeah, no, of course. But again, like when it comes to Willie, that's different. Because we know each other. It's like the stuff I see like. Trending on Twitter, and it's just like miles and miles and miles. And everyone being like, "I hate the fucking Celtics," and it's like, well, I mean, we got 18 championships. I get why people hate them. It's the same way why everybody hates the Yankees because the Yankees have most championships.
Hate the Yankees, hate the Lakers. The same kind of.
Everybody hates the Patriots because we had Tom Brady and we got 6 rings. I mean, it's they hate the guys who they don't have.
This was a great championship run by this team. It really was. It was, like I said, unfortunately my Sixers came out on the wrong end of the playoffs early on, but you got to just respect that team this year. They just were focused from day one of the season. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was just curious about that more.
I mean, like I said, from an outsider looking at it, and just reading, looking at it from a purely a factual standpoint. I mean, they 100% deserved the championship that they earned. They actually earned it. There wasn't anything handed to them anywhere along the line. I don't think.
Absolutely. Just like the Golden Knights last year, I think great run they had last year.
Yeah, I agree. That was another
we
great
don't
team.
We don't want to talk about the Golden Knights right now.
Yeah,
you guys will be back.
Subject.
You guys will bounce back. You guys will bounce back. I'm not
They
worried
will.
about you
I
guys.
have a lot of faith in that ownership group.
I do too. That's a great franchise. Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, like I said, I want to wrap up the show because we're at a good
Absolutely. Yep.
But anyway, guys, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and as always, visit smokintobacco.com for more news, reviews, and other updates from the cigar industry. I'm Matt Tabacco, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.